it seems like people were walking away from playing this game with kind of the same opinion that they had before they played it, which is like, yeah, there's things that I really like and things that kind of concern me. I think that what was interesting, though, is those things kind of seemed to change a bit over the course of the preview. Like, certain things that people thought would be more solid have become more of the concerns, and people that were like really concerned about, like, for example, the combat kind of walked away saying, it feels more like the free flow Arkham combat than I thought it would. Overall, I think that what's really hard with the previews is that Warner Brothers Games Montreal has been so secretive with the game's story and with like just so much of even the side missions. Like, the preview that everyone was allowed to experience, I don't think really encapsulated the Gotham Knights experience. And so I think in terms of the fundamental gameplay, like, again, combat, there's like kind of that basic idea that people got coming away from it. But again, like the things that I think are really going to make or break Gotham Knights, like the story, those haven't been experienced really in any capacity yet. I remember when Spider-Man had previews going on, people were able to play like the first 4 hours of the story. Not the case here. They played like the first 20 minutes and then got to do some of the Harley Quinn mission. So overall, I think that it's in many ways better than a lot of people anticipated, and that, you know, it's not sounding like the combat is like Avengers level bad or anything. It's sounding like it's pretty close to Arkham, you know, just a little bit different. And then, I mean, Gotham sounds great. It sounds like the open world is really fun to explore. So overall, you know, the previews, in my opinion, sound promising, but also that I don't think that it seals the deal on it being a great game either. I think that that main story and some of the customization aspects are like if those are handled really well, I think we're going to have a hit. And otherwise, I think that we'll have, like, you know, a pretty good game that is worth, you know, the like 50% off sale that I'm sure will happen within the next year or so.
Yeah, so basically you had most of our opinions that we were
No, no,
talking
no,
about
no, no,
before
no,
you
no.
got
You
here. The
said
only
that
thing
the
that was
gameplay is on
the only
Avengers
different thing.
level.
No, I was about to change. I was about to say something. I was going to say that,
Okay.
yeah, we said that the Avengers. I didn't say that it will be. I said that it might be, and that, yeah, people are comparing it to Arkham a lot. So it might kind of like be kind of discouraged by many people because of that, and like saying that, oh yeah, the Arkham games are better. So it might bring it down a little bit when people start playing all the way through it for a longer period of time than just 3 hours. But I think that, you know, will be better than the Avengers. I mean, it looks like it is funner than the Avengers. I'm not gonna lie. But besides that, I mean, yeah, pretty much, you know, it's a decent game, or it looks like it's a decent game. Is pretty much what we were saying. So, yeah, a lot of people have been saying that in my fan base as well, and that's basically been the overall reaction that I've been seeing for most people. Is that, yeah, it's gonna be good.
I think the tricky thing that I'll add to, like, you know, the differences in Arkham versus this game, and I know that there's so many people out there who are like, do not compare it to Arkham, it's a different thing. Well, I'm sorry, this is like essentially the follow-up to Arkham Knight. Excuse me. It's like, yes, it's a different iteration of Batman, but it's still the next Batman game. Like, I feel like a really fair comparison would be like, you know, when the next James Bond movie comes out, we're all going to compare it to the Daniel Craig James Bonds. Like, I don't think it's fair to say, no, you can't judge it based on like anything that came before. I think, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, maybe unfortunately for Gotham Knights, I think that the Arkham games are just such a great iteration of Batman that to like then expect us to go into this without remembering Arkham or without taking into account everything we love about Arkham, you know, I don't think that's a really fair expectation. So, of course, there's going to be the Arkham comparisons. And I think so far, when it's lined up directly against Arkham, I think that it, you know, it does some things better so far, and it does some things, you know, not necessarily as good or don't appear to look quite as
What do
good.
you think it does better?
I think in terms of the customization and the dual co-op, those are things that we didn't see in Arkham at all. I think this is one that's somewhat controversial. I do think this game looks in many ways better graphically, although I will say that
I
the
agree.
the art style is debatable, but the textures, the models, they look very good. Um,
I gotta say one thing real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I think compared to Arkham, the combat also looks flashier. Even though it doesn't
Yeah,
look as smooth, it looks more realistic. And even Arkham City is kind of like that, where it's like kind of slow, where you're running up to people and you're telegraphing.
yeah,
And I remember talking to the fan, and he was like, "There's this one move where you elbow somebody, but it takes like forever, and there's an enemy that hits you." I see that all the time in the Gotham Knights gameplay, and that pisses me off. But there's a level of realism there where you have to time your shots correctly and move out of the way
yeah,
properly. So I
yeah.
kind of agree that sometimes it looks better.
Yeah, well, and I think the thing with the free flow combat system is it's so good, and with that being said, I mean it's been used in every action RPG. Well, not necessarily RPG, but it's been used in every like big action game since 2009. So even like I love the like even if the free flow combat system ends up being better, I think I'll appreciate having a somewhat new combat system to try out. But like the other thing that Gotham Knight seems to be knocking out of the park that it's something I don't think Arkham necessarily can compare to is the side missions, like all the Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze stuff. That's all side content. That's not even part of the main story. But to see these like really long, drawn out villain quests, I think is awesome. So I think in terms of longevity, after you've completed the main campaign, Gotham will feel more alive. But I think that the trade off for that is that when you introduce some of those mechanics that work better than the Arkham games, like when you introduce co op and when you introduce like you can play as 4 different characters throughout the entire game, then you lose some of the refinement that came with getting to design a game for a single character. So, like with Batman, he has, he fights in a very particular way. And so they were able to make a very elaborate combat system for Batman, a very direct traversal system for Batman, and an open world that
To be
accommodated that
fair,
specific. Sorry, what's that?
there are a lot of if you saw there's a few videos that show that there's like a bunch of skill trees for each of the characters that
Exactly.
kind of do that, but in many ways they're not as, I mean, I wouldn't call them expansive, but they're basically what they take the basic moves and just do little adjustments to them and make them flashier. So
Yeah.
you know compared to Arkham, I don't even really know. I don't know. It's hard to explain because Batman, is just that only character that you play. Besides Arkham City, you do play through Catwoman a few times and you get to like level her up a few times. But
Yeah,
besides
that's
that,
true.
like Batman's the only one you level up and you really do flush him out. And I hope you get that same feeling when you play through Gotham Knights with at least one character. Because I feel like most people are going to play through most of like, their first playthrough or like their second playthrough is like, the same character throughout the entire playthrough. So I'm sure that they'll make sure that, you want to flush them out and give you
Yeah.
enough like, abilities to release those skill points and really make your thing special. It's raining here, so if you hear the floods, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you're good.